Welcome to TradeNBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 25th. Well, just as we talked about the ADM yellow, once above progression long, it was pretty straightforward during the day. We started up and it just continued throughout the day. Not a surprise with this NBI with the magenta from a daily standpoint. Once it crosses over, you know you're in an upswing, and then when you get the blue confirmation, you've got it pretty well set there. It's one of those things where we're continuing with the trend. Check out rising back almost to positive. We'll see if it's able to sustain itself through there. Keys for reversal, though, will be obviously in the shorter time frames. You'll be able to see it start, but any dip down of the magenta where it crosses back below yellow, that looks to be at least you'd have to have a pretty dramatic down move early on for it to take place within a day or so, but it's going to take more than a day or two before that settles out. And again, most of this I believe has been from the NASDAQ when we reached that 50% dip below, kept finding buyers, and each time it retested back below it, it was bought up significantly, and that's exactly what institutions love, and that carries with it momentum. Never mind the Fed and the liquidity is nonstop, and they're not planning to end that anytime soon. So that is also going to be the catalyst for a continued rise in gold, because real inflation, not measured by the government, really is starting to heat up, and no question about it. And because of that, super liquidity, the euro nowhere to go but higher. Intraday, so we started off with that dip. And you can see here where magenta strong above and then stayed, like we were talking before, when you get that white NBI consistently staying below 10 and your magenta yellow above that 33 level here. Pretty consistent to stay with it. And this is PNT 2A. Progressed like that until we got a little bit later on right here. But we were still strong with cyan under red, and unless you have a steel above and then back below, not likely to catch much from a downside. The closest would have been when we started to get this decay right here towards a reset. That happened early on, around the 97 range, but we didn't dip a whole lot to fill in any of those positive extremes. We're down to 92. It's still a significant move, 5+ points, but it didn't take long to see that reversal right here where the magenta crosses back above yellow, and within a bar you're confirmed with the blue rising above, and that led to the next move. But that one started off with the white having moved over magenta, so it's just a matter of waiting for that breakdown of magenta as the early one, and if you're really conservative, waiting for the secondarily yellow dip below. But I usually look for white getting a little bit over that 6.5 range, which really took place right here at the 4204, which wasn't bad, and then we dipped all the way down to the 93 range. And it was pretty decent with the white staying above magenta and that all the way through here. When you had magenta cross the yellow, as well as blue above the gray line, you're kind of in that clear indication, not to mention you had steel crossing above cyan at that point, and your orange was heading straight down and confirmed it when the orange dipped below red. And that's led to where we're at right now, which starting the process of weakening right here as we dipped below, and white in this case was a little bit lower, but it popped up above right around the 07 range. It's still fighting that back and forth, but it's certainly in the soft period at this particular stage of the game. But it's really relevant because this is something we were talking about just a couple of days, well, for the last several days, where we get this move of the white coming below. And it usually corresponds when you have that cyan under red, which is in that always buy category until you get the DOC spread. And you little bit of murkiness, but the turnaround was much easier to see on the MDI. Takes a little bit longer with the DOC in that particular setup to get the transition. So hopefully that helps. As always, though, I will keep updating on the Skype chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.